Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I am here today with a layout process video based on the second challenge over at the CKC group, which is to lace it up. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I heard about this challenge. I wanted to use a very long lacing style to pull two halves of a page together to represent kind of keeping our bonds connected with friends as our lives, and mostly our kids' lives, shift in different directions. So I pulled out that yellow sheet of mixed media paper, which I created in a previous video and didn't end up using because I didn't like it for that project. But I think I can put it to use on this project because part of what I want to talk about here is kind of that messy feeling when things shift and change. And while those changes are good, it's also hard to kind of let go of what we had in the past. And so that messy mixed media background really spoke to that feeling that I'm having. And as I'm putting this page together, I am creating lots of strips of pattern paper and I am tearing them and ruffling the edges. And again, that texture kind of lends to that feeling of things kind of stretching and tearing apart. And then you'll see with what I do with the lacing later is how I'm trying to hold pieces together. Even if I can't hold it all together, I don't want to let those connections go entirely. So here is what I'm doing for that lacing. On the back side of one half of my layout, I am drawing a straight line. And then I'm going to mark spots I used every 1 centimeter on this page, which was probably too many holes. But it's going to be a lot of lacing. Because I marked it too far away, I had to tear off extra strips on the end, which is what I wanted to do anyway, to leave a torn edge gap in between this lacing. And then I punch at every mark that I made on there, and it ends up being lots of holes, as you can kind of see on some of these pieces. And you see how it leaves that torn edge gap in between these two parts of the page. Before I get to the lacing part, I'm going to finalize the right half of the page with these torn edge strips. And I'm just trying to layer up contrasting colors and patterns here and ruffling edges and trimming things down and tucking things under so that everything lines up and layers up nicely. I am sure to draw some of the color from the left half of the page to the right half of the page for balance. And that should do it for that side of the page. So I'm not going to adhere these down yet because as I'm moving this yellow background around, I'm trying to get the best portions of this page to show through. And where that gap is between those two papers, I wanted to add just a little bit more mixed media that's going to peek through. So I did that and I put it off to the side to let it dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to keep working on this portion of the page, and then I'll adhere everything together later. So I decided to go ahead and go with a blue twine that I have, and it's a pretty rough twine, which I think that fits with the mood of this layout as well. I do just lace it up like a pair of shoes where I skip every other hole, and because I didn't have, it was too hard to lace up the entire length of it, so I did lace up half, stop, kind of tape down the ends of that lace to the back of the page, and then started with a new piece of twine to finish the lacing. So you'll see me deal with that a little bit more later too. As I was trying to arrange my photos onto that side, I was just choosing to overlap and underlap different photos to, hide or show certain areas of the photos and get everything to fit. So I come up with a layout for the photos that I like, and then I start embellishing. So I'm just going to pull out a bunch of these pieces, and that's all from the Tracy Reed collection. I am using my Counterfeit Kit, and if you haven't seen that kit build, I'll link you up to that. So as I start building up my clusters, I am sure to keep some things flat, pop some things up on foam dots. I'm trying to add different sizes and shapes and pieces to these clusters with at least kind of 3 elements of different sizes and shapes that can layer together, and using kind of that formula of at least 3 elements with something popped up on foam dots, I feel like I get good clusters. Now, there was a phrase in that Tracy Reed kind of sticker cardstock die cut sheet that I had created that said full of something. I don't remember what it said before, but I just took the full of portion and then a little banner tag that said love. And over that upper photo, I put full of love and created my new phrase. Now I'm working on my title. These are just cardstock cutouts, and I did tack them together with some washi tape in a straight line to make adhering them to my layout much easier once I get to that. The other part of my title was some stickers that I popped up on foam tape and adhered to another tag. And then using that washi tape there with my title, I can just adhere it all down at once. And now I'm ready to, since my background is dry, to tack everything down to that background paper. And I'm kind of adjusting everything. And here I start tightening up the lacing to get a tidier look to it, to get pulling those sections together tighter. And as I get to the section where I had to kind of clip my twine and continue with a new twine, because it's taped to the back of my page, I did make sure I left access to kind of reach my hand in there to untape that, to tighten up the ends, and then I will eventually clip off those ends and tape them down underneath the layout so you can't see those loose ends down there. And then I can finish tightening up the top edge of that lacing. I did leave the top few holes unlaced to make reaching inside a little bit easier. So I finished lacing up those, tightened all that up. I'm tying my bow to finish off that kind of shoelacing. And that is the end of the hard portion of this layout. And I really like how that lacing kind of pulls everything together. So the final step that I'm going through here is to add a little bit of journaling to the area that is next to my title. I write my journaling off screen. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the date onto this little tag piece that actually says date. And then again, I will cluster that journaling area up just like I did the other clusters on the layout, with a mix and match of shapes and sizes, overlapping, underlapping, and popping a few things up on foam dots. And once I get everything down and glued into place, that will finish off my layout. So I will give you a quick view here, and then we'll take a look at some of the close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this process video. I hope you liked seeing using some of this lacing technique on here. I hope it encourages you to go give this a try yourself and to check out the CKC group for lots more fun challenges and inspiration. Links to that group down below. Thanks so much for being here and for watching. If you got something helpful out of this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I will be back soon with more videos for you. Until then, have an artful day.